If you don't have any questions, that's fine. Then yeah. Here, if you take this here, the last class we discussed how to create an object by using the new operator. What is the difference between the reference variable and the object? And then we saw that here, what are the different scope of the variables, local variables and instance variables and the class variables, and the access specifier we discussed. Today we'll see that here, what is a method overloading and method overriding I'll discuss, and the inheritance concept I'll explain. New class, I'm going to create it here. So this is a class. If I'm taking here method, I can say it as a my math uh, example. Okay, my math example, I'm going to take a class. When you take this class, suppose if I'm taking the adding of the two numbers, I want to take it here. Public void public int add. I'm going to say it as a int a comma int b. This is an add method. We are going to write it here. This is going to add the two numbers, a and b values. It is going to add it here. Suppose if I'm taking here public int add int a comma int b and int c, we are going to do this here. And here we are going to say it as a return a plus b plus c. I'm going to do this here. So the method name is the same and the parameter list is different. And here when we are writing the one more method, public string, I'm doing the add string a comma string b. We are going to take it here. String name one comma first name comma something. You are going to take it here. String last name. So when you take this here, which is going to return the name first name plus, it's going to return the with the comma, and it's going to return last name. So these are the things we are doing here. So here the method name is the same. The same method name it is used, but we have used the different parameter list. Here it's the two values. Here also with the two values, here data types are different. Here it's the three values. The number of arguments are different. What is the overloading means? Writing two or more methods with the same name with different parameter list, we call it as a overloading. During the overloading, it doesn't care about the return type. It doesn't care about the access specifier. It will see only the parameter list. Number of parameter, order of the parameter, type of the parameter must be different. This we call it as a overloading. Overloading. So why do you need this overloading is sometimes what happens, you may need to do the operation, same operation, but with the different parameters we want to do that here. In such a scenarios, we would go with the overloading of the methods. Suppose if we take a practical example of the where we would be using the like where Java classes where we have used here is here we are going to take the string. I want to get the or we can take it as this is a place. Okay, I'm going to get the first name dot. I'm saying here first name dot substring. Here, if you look at here, we have a substring method. One is a index, another one is a the substring I want from the given index to the till the end. The substring I want from the given index to the how many elements you want. Just you are going to tell that here, like no, from what index it has to start and what index what it has to end. Both are substring only, but one functionality is you are getting from the beginning index to the till end. The second one is you are getting in the range you are going to get it here. So this is one of the best scenarios where we would use the overloading. So same operation, but you are taking the different parameter list and internally you are doing the different logic. This we call it as a overloading. Now here we could do this also. You can do that here. So this is a sum of addition of two numbers. You can say that addition of two numbers. So addition of three numbers, addition of strings, you can say that. But thing is that we need to remember a lot of names you need to remember. So based on the like no, if you're writing the multiple names, so you have to remember multiple names. And moreover, it doesn't make sense. Like now, depends on the whenever I'm calling this method. Suppose if I'm taking a main method here. So this methods, if I want to access, first I have to create an object. I'm going to create a my math example obj equal to new my math example. I'm going to create it here. Sys out, if I'm calling the obj dot add, we have, this is suggesting me that you have a add with the two methods, add with the two arguments, three arguments, and this is what, which one you want to call that here. Depends on the invocation, that particular method is going to be called. During the compilation time, the what is the argument you are passing here? Suppose if I'm printing it as a crash, I'm going to say it as a T. So this is what I'm doing here. And during the compilation time, clearly compiler knows that here, this is a OBJ, which is holding the object of the, this my math class, it is holding the object. With respect to the object, the binding will happen. This we call it as a static polymorphism or compilation time binding. So this is going to call the obj.add method it is calling here. The add method is going to call with the strings. This is a string and this is also string. This is a method it is going to call, and finally the output is going to print it as a crash space T. It would be the output it is going to print it here. Crash space T. So this is the value which is going to be printed here. Suppose if I am calling the here, okay, sys out of, I'm going to call it here obj dot add method. I'm passing the 10, 30. I'm passing here. This will be calling the add method with the two integer values. Okay, there is a two integer values you are having here, and this is the method it will be calling here. In a simple terms, you can say that here overloading is writing two or more methods with the same name with a different parameter list in the same class. We call it as a overloading. So the overloading takes place in the same class. During the overloading time, it doesn't care about the return type and access specifier, even exception also. It will see only number of argument, order of the argument, type of the arguments must be different. This is the concept of the overloading. Yeah. Now, when it comes to the overriding, before going to discuss about the overriding, we need to discuss about the inheritance. What is the inheritance? You have a existing class. You have a existing class. From the existing class, you are going to derive a new class. You have an existing class. From this existing class, you would be deriving a new class. This concept we call it as a inheritance. You are going to derive a new class. You are going to derive a new class from the existing class. This concept we call it as a inheritance. So what is that inheritance means? Whenever you are using the object-oriented programming, whenever you want to add a new features to the class, we will not go and make modification of the existing class. Always we are going to extend a class, and you would be defining you are going to create a new class by extending that class you would be creating here. The best example we can see that here. So if I'm taking the class name called the account, okay, new class, I'm going to create it as an account. I'm going to create it here. This account class has got these are the attributes. Like now, here we are going to say it as a account number, long account number. Okay, SEC number. I'm going to say that here, and the name of the account holder, string. Okay, I'm going to say it as a string, name of the account holder, and then there is a balance. Double, I'm going to take it as a balance. I'm taking here. Like that, we have got these are the things we are having here. So double balance, so we are having here. Yeah, double balance we are having here. Now what we would be doing here is, once you have balance and all these things here, and here we are going to create a one account. So here we are writing a constructor public account, and this account class has got the long SEC number, account number, string name, and a double balance. Double balance you are taking here, and this is a place where you are going to do this here. This dot account number equal to account number. This dot name equal to name. This dot balance equal to balance. Okay, this is what you have done that here, and then here we are going to write a basic implementation. You are writing here. What is the basic implementation? So public void withdraw method, we are going to write it here. Withdraw. So double amount, we are going to check that here. And here we are going to write it as a withdraw method if the amount is less than or equal to balance. So then we are going to withdraw, else we are going to say that here. So as well as out. So sorry, you don't have enough funds to withdraw. Okay, withdraw. This is the amount. Okay. This is the amount you are going to say that here. Now here we are going to say it as a, this is a place where we would be saying here, this dot amount balance equal to minus equal to amount we are going to do this here, and where we are going to say that here. Okay, as well as out. Okay, as well as out, just we can print the what is the balance remaining. Just you would be printing that here. Okay, you are going to print the what is the balance it's remaining. We would be printing here. The similar thing we are going to do the. Okay, already yesterday we have done that. Let me make use of that. Okay, here if you take this here, the withdraw and this all the methods. I'm just repeating that code. Nothing else you are doing here. Show info. I'm going to call it here. Caps lock. Let me off that. So here, if I'm taking here, this is what I would be doing here, and where I have refactor this variable name as okay. Just I'm going to refactor rename. I'm saying it as a SSC number. I'm going to rename. So we'll do the same thing. Okay. Account number I renamed. Okay, this is I'm renaming this, and this also I'm going to rename this here. Okay, cool. Now we have done that here, renaming of the all the variables, and these things are working fine. There we will not have any problem. Okay, so we have done, and we don't have any issues. Everything is fine. This will work also. So with the proper masking and everything, we have done that here. But suddenly the requirement came here. Hey, if it is a savings account, you need to maintain the minimum balance. If it is a current account, we can do the overdraft facility. If it is a savings account where you can where you need to maintain the minimum balance you need to maintain here. If it is a current account, okay, if it is a current account, so where we need not to, we can overdraft the amount. Now we have an account and it's working fine. Then you want to introduce a new account type you want to introduce. What is the savings? Another one is a current account. One is the savings account and another one is the current account you want to introduce. The savings account and current account, if you take this here, savings account where you need to maintain the minimum balance. In case of the current account, where we need not to, we can overdraft the amount. Overdraft the amount. Remaining things, everything is the same. Everything is the same. Only the difference is here. In case of the savings account, you have to maintain the minimum balance. In case of the current account, you have to maintain, you can withdraw the overdraft amount, you can withdraw. Instead of writing the same thing once again, already existing class, we have an account. We are going to extend. Only we need to change the functionality of the withdraw method and the minimum balance we need to add it here. And here we need to add the overdraft and we need to add, we need to change the withdraw method. We need to change it here. Now, instead of rewriting that, what we are going to do that is here, we are going to create a one new class. We are going to create it here. New class name called the savings account. Okay, savings. We are going to say that here. Account, I will be saying that here, which is going to extend, which extends the account. It is going to extend here, and it is extended the account. And then we are going to create another class called the new class. I'm going to create it here. This is a current account. Current account, which is going to extend the, which extends, I'm going to say it as an account. I'm going to say that here. Now I created the one is a savings account, another current account, and account class. What are the features are there? Everything will be inherited to the current account and savings account. And here we are going to create a one double. I'm going to create it as a minimum balance equal to 500. I'm going to maintain here. And in case of the current account, I'm going to take it as a double. Okay, overdraft limit equal to some 10,000. I'm going to put it here. Now, this is giving the compilation error. Why this is giving the compilation error is whenever you create a class, whenever you create a class, whenever you create a class, this class, this class extending the account class, it is extending here, and it is going to call the superclass constructor. What does it mean? Let me explain with the one example. New class, I'm going to create it here. This is a constructor chain example. Okay, constructor chain example I'm taking here. Here I'm going to create a class 1. This is a class 1. And I'm creating this is a class 2. We have a two classes, class 1 and class 2. Here there is no relationship. The parent and child relationship, we don't have. Class 1 is a different class 2 is a different class. Now what we are going to do here is, so here we are going to write a one constructor. I'm writing here. Public 1, I'm writing a constructor. And here we are writing a constructor. Public 2 is another constructor. I'm going to write it here. 2 is a constructor. I will be writing here. Now, the one class constructor, it is going to print the message saying that SYS out, S out, or we are going to take it as a S out. This is a 1. Here we are going to say it as a SYS out. We are going to print it as a 2. Okay. So 1 is printing here, and then it is going to print the 2 is going to be printed here. The 1, and we are going to create it as a 2. We are going to create it here. Yeah. Now, when we create an object, the main method, I'm going to take it here. First, if I create a one obj equal to new one, I'm going to create object. The output is going to be, this is going to call the one class constructor. So first it will execute the constructor, then it will create an object, and object reference will be written, and that reference variable you are holding in the obj. If I run this here, we will not have any confusion. Just it is going to print one class. It is going to be one class object. It is going to be print, and it is saying that we need to fix this compilation issues. Okay, cool. For time being, I will not extend this class. Okay, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this because it is not allowing to compile the source code. Okay, cool. Now here, when you take this here constructor chaining example, constructor chaining example, we created the object of the one class we are creating. Now I'm going to execute this here. There is nothing complicated, nothing complexity here. We created a class and we are creating the object. Suppose if I create a two class object, 2 obj1 and obj2 equal to new 2, I'm going to create it here. I'm creating the two class object I'm creating here. Then this is also going to call the constructor, and it will print this is a message. It is going to print it here. So far, there is no confusion. Now here, if it extends 1, that means this is extending the one class. The child class is a 2 class. The one class is a parent class. Now, whenever you create an object of the 2 class object, it is going to call the superclass constructor. In the constructor, the first statement is a super. The first statement is a super, and its first statement is a super. In Java, if there is no extend keyword in your class definition, by default, it extends the object class. Object class is available in a java.lang package. By default, the lang package is imported. We need not to import explicitly. So every class, superclass is an object class. If you take the hierarchy of the classes, the top class is always object class. Object class is a superclass for every class. So whenever I create an object of the 2 constructor, first it is going to call the superclass constructor, and it is going to call the superclass constructor. since it doesn't have any superclass, object class is a superclass. It will it will call the superclass object constructor, then it will call this constructor. Once execution is over, then it is going to call, it is going to execute the two class constructor. If I create an object of the two, what happens is here, it is going to call the two. It is going to call the two, and it is calling the first statement as a super. Then it is going to call the super. First, it will execute the object class constructor. Then it is going to execute the object class constructor. It is going to execute. Okay, object class constructor, it is going to execute. Then, okay, this is a place where we called here object class. Cool. Here we are going to call the two class constructor. From here, we are going to call the superclass constructor. From here, if we call that object class. Okay, so we need to return. We want to return that. Okay. Yeah. So I'll find later. So now here we are going to call this here. So superclass we called here. First object class constructor will be executed. Then it is executing the one class constructor. Then it will execute the two class constructor. Finally, it will come to the this is a place where it is going to come here. Now, if I run this example, the output is going to be this. First one, then it's going to print the two. This is what we can see the output. Yeah, this is the output. You can see that here. Suppose if it is having the parameterized constructor, one class is having the parameterized constructor string, it is going to take the some name. Okay, string name it is taking here. Now, this if I write this here, earlier we don't have error. Now it is we are having the error. The reason is this error. By default, it is going to call the super. But in your super class, we don't have the any parameterized constructor. In your super class, we don't have the any you don't have the default constructor. In your super class, we don't have the default constructor. The default constructor is not available. That's why it is giving the compilation error. Hey, I'm trying to call this the super of the default constructor, but which is not available. Then you need to write it explicitly. What is the constructor argument? Suppose I'm going to give it as some name. I'm going to give it here. Something Krish I'm saying here. There is no compilation error. Whenever you take the constructor, superclass constructor with the parameterized constructor, if there is no default constructor in your class, then we have to call explicitly from the subclass constructor, superclass constructor, we need to call with the same parameter list. You have to call that here. Then this is going to call the superclass constructor, and this is going to call it's a superclass constructor, which is object class. It is going to call it here. We need not to write this. By default, if you don't have anything, it is going to extend the object class. So this is a way you would be calling that here. This is going to call it here. This is calling the superclass constructor. This constructor is going to execute. If there is a default constructor means a constructor without any arguments, we call it as a default constructor. Then we don't have any problem. This would be calling the default constructor. It will be calling here. Suppose if you don't have the default constructor, you have written a parameters constructor, then your responsibility call the superclass constructor from the constructor by using the super method, and then all your superclass instance variables are going to be initialized in this constructor. So this is a concept of the super method where we will use it here. Okay, this is what in our case, if we take the my account class, if I take the my account class has got the parameterized constructor, which is the 3 parameter: account number, name, and double balance. Now, whenever I'm creating the savings account, so here we are going to write which we are extending the exchange account. We are going to extend. Now we are writing a constructor public. I'm writing a constructor savings account, which we are going to call the super. We are going to call it here the account number, name, and balance. Then what you are doing here is whenever you are creating this object, these 3 values you are passing the superclass constructor. The superclass will be initializing these 3 instance variables. It is going to be initialized. But now we have one problem with that. Like what is that? The account class we inherited, everything is fine. But the withdraw method, the way it is implemented here, it is checking that amount is greater than or equal to balance. Then amount is greater than balance. You are saying it as a sorry, insufficient funds. Otherwise, you are going to withdraw. Now, in our savings case, we need to maintain the minimum balance. Now, here we are going to override the withdraw method. During the overriding time, we have to see that here it should have the same parameters. Now, here we are going to add the one annotation called the override, and we would be overriding the withdraw method. So now here, when you do the withdraw method, the amount is greater than balance minus minimum balance. Okay, hey, you need to maintain. If you have a minimum, your balance minus minimum balance, if it is a greater than, then only, okay, greater than or equal to the amount minus minimum balance. If we have that, okay, if it is a amount is cool, yeah, greater than the amount is greater than balance minus minimum balance, you are saying it as a sorry, insufficient funds. Otherwise, you are going to withdraw the amount we are going to withdraw. This mask method is not available in this class. Just we are going to use the static import. Import static. We would be saying that as a, this is what we are going to say that here. Account no mask account mask. No, what is the class name? Account util. Sorry. Day 6. We are going to take it as a day 6. Account util and mask number. We are going to say that here so that we imported that we can use it here. What about the deposit method? What about the display method? Those all things are same. We don't want to make any changes. This is what the overriding is, something like this. Like no, you are inheriting something from your parent. Then you can change that. You can do the alteration of that. You cannot like no, you cannot completely what you can say sell it. Okay, only you can do the alteration. Whatever you inherited from that, like the way it was there, you didn't like that here, or it may be not satisfying your requirement. You're going to do the alteration. The similarly here also, when you inherit, when you are going to inherit, and the here what you are doing here is we are doing the withdraw, and the withdraw method we are giving a different implementation you are giving here. This concept you call it as a overriding. During the overriding time, the like no, access specifier should be same or less restrictive access specifier. Return type must be the same. Method name must be same. And argument list also must be the same. Only the method body is going to change. You are inheriting the superclass method and changing the functionality in the subclass. We call it as a overriding. Why do you do this overriding? Like no, the best example, if you take that here, whenever the gene manufacturer, whenever he's making the genes, you will take the highest length and then he's going to manufacture. Once you buy and if you pay the bills, no, then you can do the alteration the way you want. You are going to do that. The similarly here also, there is a class, account class, existing class. It is giving the withdraw method the way it is implemented. It has given, but we don't want that. We want to give a different implementation. We are overriding that method. We are repeating that method and we are changing the method body. This is the concept of the overriding. In case of the current account also, we want to do the same thing, which is going to extend account. It is extending the account. And here we are going to write it as a, this is what we are going to do this year. And only we are going to override the withdraw method. We are going to override. So here in this case, what we are saying here is, okay, first let me import the static import static. Okay, Java com dot CareerIT dot day 6. And here we are going to take the account util mask number. In this case, what you are doing here is, okay, you can withdraw the overdraft limit you can withdraw. So we are saying that balance plus overdraft, if it is the amount is greater than this plus this, then only you are saying that insufficient funds. Otherwise, we are allowing to withdraw. Otherwise, we are going to allow him to withdraw the amount we are allowing to withdraw. Yeah. So that is a different implementation. In case of that savings account, we need to maintain the minimum balance. In case of the current account, we are allowing him to withdraw the more than what he has. Like, he has got the overdraft limit he has. So this is the way you would be using the overriding. We are going to use it in your inheritance undo. Inheritance means creating a new class from the existing class. We call it as an inheritance. The main advantage of that, reusability, code reusability, maintainability, and even testability. So these are the main key features of the inheritance. And during the inheritance, the first concept we are discussing here, how the constructor can be called, superclass constructor can be called by using the super method. And what is the overriding? So inheriting the superclass methods into the subclass and changing that functionality in the subclass, we call it as the overriding. Overriding time, number of arguments, method name, and return type, access specifier, everything should be the same. Only the method body is going to change. Is this clear? Any questions here? What is the difference? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Yeah, anyhow, we are taking one main method for the inheritance for all the extend classes. So why don't we take in all the child classes in parent class?
No, that is not a good practice. You can write it that, but that's not a good practice. So always we'll create the separate classes. We'll create for like each class will create a separate file. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Your voice is not so clear.
Okay. I think you have a background noise. Yeah. Fine.
Okay.
The account, whenever you take the any Java class when you are writing, you should write it in a separate file. So here the account class, we have created a separate file, current account and savings account. Okay, we don't worry about the main method. Okay, whether it is used in a main method or it will be used in by writing the web services, you may be calling our services and all these things here. That's other part. So in applications when you're working, you may not have the main method in every class, correct? So you will have the only one main method class, you will have it, and that is going to be called rest of the things it is going to call. Okay, now here the answer to your question, when you take any Java file, it is always a good practice. It should have the only one public class. You can put the you can write the other classes, but it's not recommended approach. Always you create a separate class for that. Now here we are going to create a one new class. I'm going to create it here. This is a class name is I'm going to set as an account manager. This is the main class I'm going to write it here. Main class I'm writing here. This is a main class I'm taking here, and I'm going to create an account ACC equal to new savings account. I'm going to create it here. New savings account. I'm going to create it here. This is the thing, and here we are going to call the account. This is the ACC1. This is the ACC2. New current account. I'm going to create it here, and here current account just will give it as a some company name. We are going to give it here. Okay, then we are going to take it as a one more account. I'm going to create it here. ACC3 equal to, we are going to create it as a new savings account. Manoj, we are going to create it here. New current account. We are going to say it as a okay. This is what we are writing here. Now we created a account reference variable. If I take the account one, I'm going to take it here, and account two, account three. I created the 4 accounts I created here. This account is a superclass type. The superclass reference variable can hold subclass objects. The superclass reference variable can hold the subclass object. So this account class reference variable can hold it's a child class object, so it can hold it here. So that's the reason we are taking it as the account ACC1 equal to savings account, ACC2 equal to current account, savings account, and this is one. Now here, if I'm on to withdraw the money, suppose if I'm taking the savings account, I have a balance of the 10,000. Now I'm trying to withdraw the 10,000. I'm trying to withdraw. Okay, I'm trying to withdraw the 10,000. I'm trying to withdraw. Okay, I'm trying to withdraw the balance of the 10,000. I'm going to withdraw here. ACC1 dot withdraw. Or first you are going to show that show info, and ACC1 dot withdraw. I'm going to withdraw the 10,000. I'm going to withdraw. When I do this here, ACC1 dot withdraw 10,000, you have a 10,000 balance, but it doesn't allow you to withdraw because we need to maintain the minimum balance. Now if I run this here, the example, it is going to cause the it is going to print the error message. Okay, sorry, insufficient funds. Sorry, insufficient funds. It's saying that here. Why? The ACC1 dot when you call the withdraw. Now here, this is a concept we need to understand how the dynamic polymorphism works. This is an account. Reference variable is of type ACC1, but it is holding the child object. This is holding the child object. It is holding here. Account ACC1 equal to new account, and it is holding the child object. It is holding here with the reference variable is holding the child object. And when I'm calling the ACC1 dot show info, it is not calling the account show info. It is calling the reference variable what object it is holding. That method is going to be called. That method is going to call it here. Now ACC1 is reference variable is holding the during the runtime what object it is holding. That is a method it is going to call it here. When you call this show info method, this is going to call the account show info. It is going to show that here. Okay. Now internally what happens is here during the runtime, the account class features are inherited here, and ACC1.showInfo method, when I call this here, the method which is available in a savings class, that method is going to call. Even in case of the withdraw also, same thing it is going to happen. So this is what it is showing here. Okay, account. If you are calling here, this is a withdraw method. It is saying here, but it won't call this method. It will be calling the method which is like in the savings class method. It is going to call it here. That's the reason it is saying that as a you don't have the sufficient balance. Okay, during the runtime, if your reference variable is holding the child class object, then compiler will not link that, whether it has to call the account class show method or savings class withdraw saving class show method. It will not decide that here. The binding will be postponed to the runtime. During the runtime, the reference variable what object it is holding, with respect to the object, the methods are going to be called. This concept we call it as a dynamic polymorphism. The compilation time polymorphism means, suppose if I create a new account here. Here we don't have any confusion. Like no, the account which is holding the same type of object it is holding, the linking will happen during the compilation time itself. It clearly knows, compiler clearly knows that it is holding the same class object. It is calling the show method. It is calling the withdraw method. In this case, it is not holding the same class object. It is holding the subclass object. It is holding the subclass object. So when it is holding class object, the compiler can decide that it has to call the account class show info method or compilation the saving class show info method. The binding will be postponed to the runtime. During the runtime, the reference variable what object it is holding, with respect to the objects, methods are going to be called. The methods are going to be called. So this is the way the dynamic polymorphism works. Now let me quickly to show.
So sir,
Yeah.
savings account is extending the account
Yeah.
when it is created. Okay, so how they both are linked together.
This It is extending the account.
So savings account is child class to the account. So that's where it is tied up.
Mhm.
And when dynamically it invokes the method show info from savings class object instead of account class object.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. You can. I'll show you the one more example with the next example. Now here we are going to take the one class and we are taking the two class. I'm writing a method called the void m1. The method m1 I'm writing here sys out of hello. Hello from m1 of 1. Now here, when I call this here, this is a reference variable. I'm going to create it here. Cool. Let me put it this way. One obj equal to new one. I'm creating the object. And I'm going to call the obj dot. I'm calling the m1 method. Okay, obj dot m1 method. I'm going to call it here. Let me remove this string. Cool. This is what we created here. Here we don't have any confusion here. It's a simple thing. We'll see this here. Here we have a two classes. Class 1, which is having the constructor. There is a m1 method. Class 2, which is extends the 1, which extends the n1, and it has got the two constructor and which is printing here, and we are not doing anything else. Now I am creating the object of the one obj equal to new one and obj dot m1 I am calling here. In this case, compiler, what it does is that it is taking the reference variable of 1 and it's creating the object of the 1. The reference variable and object both are same. Then obj.m1, if I'm calling here, the linking will happen during the compilation time itself. Compiler clearly knows that it is going to call the m1 method of the 1 class. So here, if I print the output, first it is going to call the constructor. Constructor, we are printing the 1. And we are calling the after object creation, we are calling the m1 method, which is going to print the hello from 1. That's it. There is no confusion here. It's a simple and straightforward. Just it is going to print the 1 and it's printing the hello from m1. Suppose if you override this method, void m1, and here we are going to print the sys out of, we are writing a method hello from m1 of 2. m1 of 2, we are going to write it here. The overriding means you need not to give the override annotation. It is not mandatory, but it is always a good practice to give the override annotation so that it will ensure that this method is exist in the superclass. Okay, this method is, if there is no method, suppose if I write the m2 and I'm overriding here, it is giving the compilation error. Hey, so with this method signature, we don't have any superclass method, it is saying here. So during the compilation time itself, you can detect the errors easily. And if you don't override that method signature properly, if you don't redefine the method signature properly, it is going to give error. So that's a reason we are going to say that as a at the rate of override annotation, you are going to give it here. Okay, cool. Now here, I'm calling this here one obj equal to, now the one is not pointing to this, one is pointing to the 2. One is pointing to the 2. Now, one obj with respect to the reference variable, it has got the m1 method. Yeah, it has got the m1 method. Compilation will be success. There is no problem. During the runtime, like compiler cannot decide that it has to call the m1 method from the 1 class or 2 class. The binding will be postponed to the runtime. During the runtime, the reference variable, what object it is holding, that method is going to be called. Now, if I run this here, the output is going to be 2, 1, 1, 2, and hello from 2, it is going to be printed here. 1, 2, because we are creating the object of the 2 class. It is going to call the superclass constructor. First, it will execute the superclass constructor 1. Then it is going to execute this constructor. And then it will be called the m1 method. It is going to call it here. whoever asked the question, did you understand now? Is this clear? Yeah, somebody has asked a question. Is this clear?
So it will never call a M1 from the class 1, right? In this scenario.
M1 from class 1. Okay. If at all you want to call this M1 method, you have only option is you can call the super of M1, you can call it here.
Oh, super of M1.
Okay. You are overriding this method, but still you want to call inside that method, you could call the super of M1. You can call it anywhere. It's need not to be in this method. You can call that. Any other method you can call it. Clear?
Super of M1 is always going to be from the class 1.
Yeah, it's a super class 1. It's going to call it.
Okay. Thank you.
So now here, after this explanation, here I'm going to take the int a equal to, I'm going to put the 100. Here int a equal to, I'm going to print the 999. Suppose if I'm printing the, in this class, I'm going to print the sys out of obj dot of a. What would be the value? Can you guess what would be the value? Yeah, our guess, or can you tell me what would be the value it is going to print? Is it prints the 100 or 999?
Sorry, I missed it. Int a, sorry, what?
Okay, we define the one a variable in one class. We define the variable in two class.
Okay.
Same variable I will define here. Now when I'm calling here system.obj of a, will it print the 100 or will it print the 999?
So it's calling from the 2. It should call from the 2 class 2.
Call from the 2.
Class
So
2.
that's what it should call from the 2. That's not correct answer. The explanation what I explained previously, overriding I explained, and this is what the method is going to call. Then we will go with the even variables also will apply the same rule will apply, but only the dynamic polymorphism exhibits for the methods, not with the variables.
Oh, okay. Just okay, only for the methods.
Yeah. So this is only for the methods. We don't. It won't be applied for the variables. The variables always it will be called with respect to the reference variable. Why? Any of this reference, the variable will be object memory will be allocated at the time of creating object itself. When I call the 2 class constructor, it is going to call the 1 class constructor. That means all the variables are initialized. So it compiler clearly knows that this is a variable it has to call. And when you call this here, the obj.a, it is not going to call it with respect to the object. It is going to call it with respect to the reference variable. The value is going to become the 100.
Okay. Okay.
This is a one point to remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Next, here when you are creating the account manager, I'm going here. There is an account manager savings, and we created here. Now you got it this explanation like account we are creating the savings account we are creating, and account one dot show info, account one dot withdraw we are going to do that here. It is not doing from the account class. It is what is the object it is holding. With respect to the object, it is going to call those methods it is calling here. Now we don't want to create a object for this account class. Accidentally also we don't want to create a he has to create the object for savings account and current account. You shouldn't be creating the object for the account. What does it mean? Now he can create an object for the account, but we don't have the account things. We have either savings account and current account. We don't want to accidentally also create this account object. What we could do here is one is to avoid this, we can make your class as the abstract class. I can make my class as the abstract class. Okay, I'm going to make it as the abstract. I'm going to do this here. The moment you make an abstract class, there is no way you can create an object for these abstract classes. There is no way you can create an object for the abstract class. And another one is withdraw method. We don't want to give the default implementation. We want him to override this method. Okay, what we would be doing here is we are going to give the empty method without body. We are going to give it here. If we write a method without body, we must declare it as an abstract. We are going to write it as an abstract. What is the abstract method? The method without body, we call it as an abstract method. The method without body, we call it as an abstract method. The abstract method will not have any body. Like, no, this is a body which is having here. These methods, we call it as a concrete methods. This methods, we call it as a concrete methods. And this method is an abstract method. Abstract methods will not have the any body. Okay, that's one thing you need to remember here. If the class contains the any abstract method, that class has to be made it as abstract class. What is the advantage of the abstract classes? So yesterday I discussed, if you want to access the features of the one class to the other class, we have it two ways you can access. One is by using the isA, another one is by using the hasA. Another one is by using the hasA. isA means you are going to inherit. HasA means you are going to create an object and you would be accessing that here. You are going to, isA means you are inheriting. HasA means you are going to create an object and you are going to access here. Whenever you write the abstract class, the object cannot be created. Okay, abstract class, there is no object creation. Okay, we can't create the object. Then how do I access the features of that object abstract class? Only by using the isA. By using the inheritance only, you can access the features of the abstract class. Now, that's the reason we made it here. And moreover, we made it as this method is abstract method. And which are the classes are extending. So which are the classes are extending, they must override. Okay, here you see here, you'll get the compilation error. Hey boss, you have a compilation error. The reason is this account class is getting you the one abstract method. This account class is getting you the one abstract method. You must override. Otherwise, your class also has to make it as an abstract class. If the class contains the abstract method, it's not a complete method. You have to declare it as an abstract class. Whenever you extend the account class, you must implement all the abstract method. Otherwise, this class also, in order to avoid the compilation error, you have to make it as an abstract class. We don't want to make this class as abstract class. We want to make it as a concrete class. That's where we are overriding the method called the withdraw method. We are going to override. In case of the savings account also, we did the same thing. And if you go on the account manager, there is no way you can create an account class object. Account class object, you cannot create it here. Okay, account class, if I'm trying to create object, it is going to give the compilation error. You cannot create. Either you can create a savings account or you can create a current account. You cannot create an account object. So abstract classes are the classes which contains the 0 or more abstract methods. When you create your class as abstract class, if you want to use the features of the abstract class, it has to be extended. You cannot create an object for the abstract classes. So when the abstract class is having the abstract methods, the extended class must override all the abstract methods. Otherwise, this class also should be marked as abstract. The main advantage of the abstract classes to tell, like now, whoever extending your class, what are the methods needs to be overridden, and restricting the creation of the object. And you are forcing him to use the isA relationship, not with the hasA relationship. These are the things when you are developing the applications, you would be creating the abstract classes. These are the typical scenarios you would be creating. Now, you can create a reference variable, but we cannot create an object for that. And abstract classes contains the constructor also. Okay, we can have the constructor, it can have methods, concrete methods, as well as the abstract methods, it can have it here. So this constructor, it will have it, but we cannot create object for the abstract classes. Yeah. So this is a way you would be defining the abstract classes in your Java. Now here, one simple question, let me ask you that here, you created this is a savings account, current account, and we are created like this, you created some 10 accounts you would be creating here. Let me create it here. Let me do this here. We'll keep on creating this here. This is an account, SEC 5 equal to, we are going to set as a new account, new savings account. I'm going to create it here. Okay, here we are going to set as 1009. So Charan, we are going to say that here some balance we are going to give it as a some. This is a balance I'm going to give it here. Okay, account SSC 6. I'm going to say it as a new savings account. Here we are going to give it as 1010. John, and here we are going to give it as some 5,000. Some 6,000 we are going to give this here. Now the question is a simple question is here. We want to count the how many savings accounts are there, how many current accounts are there. How many savings accounts are there, how many current accounts are there, we want to find it. Or you can say in another way, you can ask that here, hey, can you get me the total balance of the savings account, total balance of the current account? Total, how much balance is there in the savings account? Total, how much balance is there in the current account? We need to get it here. Okay, this is a requirement. Okay. So now here, in order to do this here, first of all, I need to know how do I find the which is a savings account, which is a current account. For that, there is a method called the instance of method. Okay, here we are going to write it as a. Okay, I can take it here. One array I'm going to create it here. Account ARR equal to. This is an account you are going to create it here. This is a place where we are going to write it as a new account. I'd be writing the SEC1, SEC2, SEC3, SEC4, and SEC5, and then we are going to take the SEC6. We have got the 3 accounts, 6 accounts you are taking here. Now, how do I know that whether which is a savings account, which is a current account? We can use the multiple options we have. What you can say here, double savings total. Okay, double current total, we are going to take it here. Now we need to write a loop for that here. We are writing a loop. Hey, this is a savings account, this is a current account, and we are running through this. If it is instance of, there is an operator called the instance of. This ACC is the instance of the account. You get the balance. Okay, here we will write the getters and setters. We'll add it here. Okay, we are going to add the getters and setters. Generate, we are going to say it as a getters and setters. For all these 3 fields, I'm adding the getters and setters. I'm going to add it here. Good. Now here we are going to say that here, if instance of operator, what it does is that it checks that ACC is pointing to the holding the savings object or not. If it is holding the savings object, it is going to add the savings balance. This is a balance it is adding here. Else, if it is a current, then it is going to get the current balance. And finally, you are going to get the savings account and the total amount you are getting here. And if I'm printing here SYS out, total savings account balance and the total current account balance, you are going to print it here. Here we are going to print what is the total savings account balance and the current account balance you will be printing. Here we need to understand the instance of operator. The instance of operator, what it does is that it will check the reference variable. What are the reference variable? Whether it is holding the same class object or not. It's going to check that. It's going to check that whether it is holding the same class object or not. It's checking that, and if it is holding, then it is then it's going to add to this. Otherwise, it is going to add to this here. At the end, you can see here what is the total savings balance and what is the current account balance. You can see that. The total savings balance is this, and current account balance is this. We can do that sum. Like no, savings account, if you take that here, 10,000, then we have a 30,000, and then here 11,000. It's total 51,000. No, this is wrong. 10, 30, 40, and 51. Yeah, this is correct. 51,000 and 60,000. We got it here. The instance of operator, it is going to check that here the ACC is the instance of the savings or not. If not, we are taking it as a default as a current. This is the way you can use the instance of operator. You can use it here. Is this clear? Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, here in recent changes, we can use the pattern matching. What is that pattern matching? How it works? Let me try this here. Okay, we could use like this. Not required. This is instance of is not required. I think we can use the ACC is the instance of. We are going to take it here. Yeah, I think we need to use this way. Yeah, there is no other option. This is the way we will be using the inheritance and overriding and overloading concept. We will use it here. Okay, there is another concept called the interface. When it comes to the interface is a common normal definition is it's a contract between the two parties. It contains the abstract methods, final variables. It always interface says that no, what to do, but it never says that how to do that. Okay, let's take it as a simple example. I'm going to create a one interface called the interface example. I'm going to take it here, or we are going to take it as a game. This game is an interface. I'm taking the game is an interface. I'm going to take it here. So this game interface has got the three methods. One is a start, play, and stop. What is a start, stop, and play method we are having here? By default, all methods in the interface are public abstract methods. We need not to write it explicitly. So this is by default, it's a public abstract methods. I define the one interface, and this interface has got the three methods: start, play, and stop method we are having here. And this interface, whoever implementing this interface, they have to do this contract. Okay, somebody microphone mute, please. Yeah. So public interface game, and here we are taking the void start, play, and stop method you are taking. And what are the games you are going to implement? What are the games you are going to implement this interface, or what are the classes you are creating implements this interface? You must override all these three methods. We must override. We must override all the three methods. We must override here. Now I'm going to take it as a new game. Let's take it as a bike. Now this bike game is going to follow that contract, which implements game it is going to implement. And when it is implementing this game class has game interface has got the three abstract methods: start, play, and stop. Start, play, and stop method we are having here. You must override all the methods. We are going to implement all these three methods you are overriding here. Then start method, the way you are implementing here, SYS out, bike game is started, SYS out. So you are playing bike game. You will be saying it as a please. Okay, please careful. We are going to say that. Please where element. We are going to say that here. This is the implementation of the play method we are implementing. And what about the stop method? So just you are going to print the game is going to stop. Now I have done that here. I have created a bike, and here we are going to implement the game. The bike implements the game, and we have written these are the methods we have written. The similarly, we are going to take a car. I'm taking a new class called the car we are taking here, and which is going to implement the game it is implementing. We must override all the three methods we are going to override. Then we are going to override the three methods. SYS out, we are going to say it as a car game is started. So SYS out, we are going to say it as you are playing the car game where the seat belt. Here we are going to say it as a car game is stopped. Now second game. Now here we are going to shade one more game we are going to create it here, ship. Okay, which is going to extend implements the game it is going to implement, and we must override the. Okay, we are going to write it here, and here we are going to write it here. SYS out game is started, and here we are going to say it as SYS out. You are wearing the please wear the life jacket, and here we are going to write it as SYS out game ship is going to stop. Now one interface we created, and we have a three implementation. One interface we have got the three implementation. Depends on the what game you want. Depends on the what game you want. Suppose if I'm taking the game manager, you are going to say it as a new class. You would be writing here game manager. I'm going to write it here. Game manager I'm writing here. And this is a place where we are going to take the main method. Let me take it as a scanner. SC equal to new scanner. We are going to create it here. Int SYS out. Okay, we are going to enter the one for bike, two for car, three for ship. Okay, we are going to say that here. Okay, three for ship, we are going to do this here. Now here we are going to write it here. What we are going to write it here, we are going to get the int ch equal to sc dot next. Now we are getting the user input. Like no, depends on the what game we have chosen. We want to get that particular object. We want to get it here. We can write a one simple factory method. We can write it here. Here we are going to write it as a public static. I'm saying it as a game get game. Okay, I'm going to write the get game. I'm going to write it here int ch equal to this. What I'm doing here is, hey, if my choice is 1, you return the bike game. If choice is 2, you return the car game. If choice is 3, you return the ship game. If none of the cases, we are saying it as an invalid choice. Tomorrow, some other game is added, then what you will do, you will make a small modification. You will do here, and we are going to add one more case. You are going to write it here. One more case, you are going to write it here. So instead of writing this, we can write a switch statement. Okay, you can write a switch statement. What you are doing here is switch ch. Okay, you would be returning the case 1. You are going to return the new game. Case 2, you are going to return the new bike car. Case 3, you are going to return the ship game. We are going to default. We are going to throw the exception. Throw new illegal argument exception, invalid choice. We are going to say that here. So finally, we are going to return. Yeah, okay. We need not to do this here. This is we will be writing here. We need not to write that because we are writing the switch expression. We are writing here. This is a one. Okay, here we are going to write it here. This is syntax wise, it will become the little simple. Okay, this is an invalid choice. You are going to say that here, and you put this here. Now, this is saying here, what is the return? We are going to say that here. Does not have any result expression. What does it mean? case. Okay, sir. Case 1. This is a syntax. You have written the case expression. You have written default. We are going to write it as a this. Okay. This is what we would be doing here. Now here, based on the user selection, we are going to call this method, which we call it as a factory method. Tomorrow you added this some more game. We are going to say it as a like a new game. We are going to say it as a we will be saying that as a toy game. Okay, toy game. I'm going to say that here. Okay, just you would be saying that as a we are going to say it as a which implements the game. So here we are going to override all the methods you would be overriding here. Now, whenever you added the new method, new game you have introduced, now here you would be doing here in your main class, game manager class. If you go to the game manager class, where you are going to say that here. Okay. So here in a game manager class, you would be doing here game manager class. You are going to add one more new case. You'll add it here. The 4 for toy game. You are going to say it as a toy game. You are going to say that here. Here you will be adding the one more object. You are going to add it here. Case 4. New toy game. You are going to say that here. This is the way you would be adding the multiple conditions you are adding here. Now here I'm going to get the game equal to get game of ch. If we look at this here, the return type this method we made it as a game. We did not take the bike or car or ship because the game is a parent for the bike, car, ship, and toy. We'll take the parent type. The parent type reference can hold any of the child object it can hold. So that's where we are making it as the superclass reference variable. Superclass is a return type we are making here. Now depends on the what game is selected, and we are going to return that game object and which we are returning as the superclass object we are returning. But because we don't know what choice user is going to give, like I cannot make it as a car. Car cannot hold the bike. Bike cannot hold the ship because these objects they don't have relationship. But the game is a superclass for every class. This game can hold any of the subclasses and its implemented classes. So that we have taken the game type we have taken. Here we are getting the game. Now here we are going to call the game.start. I'm going to call the start. Game.play. We are going to say it as a stop. When I run this here, based on my selection, particular game is going to be called. Okay. So now if I run this here, I'm going to select the second option I'm selecting. Car game is started. You are playing the car game. Please wear the seat belt. Car game stopped. Car game is stopped. It is going to say that here. So this is a way you could use the interfaces, and one interface you can have the multiple implementations. One interface can have the multiple implementations. You can say that here. So this interface we would be implementing. Okay, bike and car and like no, these are the different things you have implemented here. Now here we can if you look at here after looking at this code, hey, my start method and stop method is a common code. All the places I have written the same code I have written. Even in a toy game also, okay, we have written the same you would have implemented here. We don't want to implement the same method, same code. We don't want to write that here. Okay, just we are going to say it as a here. We are going to write it as a one method. You are writing here. SYS out. You are playing the toy. You are playing with the toy. We are going to say that here. Now, in case of the bike also, I don't want to give this, and we don't want to give this. Okay, and the car also we are going to do this here. We don't want to stop, and we don't want to give the do this here. Okay, here let me explain with the diagram. You will understand better. You have a interface. This interface has got the three abstract methods. One is a start, play, and then there is a stop. These are the three abstract methods it is having here. The requirement is a simple. Okay, we have a start or the play method we are having here. Now, when I implement this interface, in the class, when I implement this interface in the class, I have to override all the three methods I have to override. Whenever I do the implementation of this interface in this class, I have to override the three methods. Okay, here also we are going to override the three methods we are going to override here. Okay. Let me get it undo. Okay, we would be overriding these three methods we are going to override here. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to do this here. This is a one more class. This is a one more class we are going to take it here. I have to override these three methods we are going to override here. Here also we are overriding the three methods. Here also we are overriding the three methods. And we felt that here the start method and play method, it is having the same implementation. There is no change. Only the play method is a different. What we could do here is implementing the instead of all the methods, we could create a abstract class. We could create one abstract class here. We could create an abstract class here. We could create one abstract class. We could create it here. That abstract class, here we are going to create one abstract class. We are going to create it here. This is a place where we are going to create one abstract class. And this abstract class, this is a place where we are going to create one abstract class. We are going to create it here. This abstract class, these classes are going to implement, and it extends this abstract class. This class is also extends the abstract class. This class also extends the abstract class. And this implements this is going to implement this is going to implement the game class. It is going to implement here. What does it mean? Whenever you take this extends, abstract class can have the abstract methods. We will keep it, we are going to override the start method and stop method. We will keep it as a play method, as abstract method. Whoever extending this class, they have to override the only one method, that's a play method. That's a play method we need to override here. Now here we are going to create one new class I'm creating here. This is an abstract game. Abstract game, we are going to say that here. This is a place where we are going to implement. We are implementing this is a class which we are going to say it as the abstract class. Which we are implementing the implement game, we are going to say that here. And we are going to override the only two methods. What is that? Here we are going to say it as a this dot class dot get class dot. We are going to get the get name, get simple name. Okay, is target. Okay, just we are going to say that here. The game, you would be saying like this, the game. Okay, here we are going to put it here. The game is started. Then here we are going to print this similar message. You are going to print it here. The game is stopped. Now here there is one abstract method is pending. What is that? Play method. I'm going to extend. Bike is going to extend the abstract game. And we are overriding the only play method we are going to override. Here we are overriding the one play method we are overriding. The car game. This is also extends abstract game and overriding the play method. The start method and stop method already we have overridden in abstract game, and same methods are inherited here. The same thing we are going to do this here. Shift game also we are going to do this here. Extends abstract game, and we need not to write the start and stop method because already we have given the implementation. The same thing here also we are going to do that here. Extends abstract game, and here we are going to write it here. The moment you go to the game manager and if you run your application, so you can choose what is the game you want to play. You can choose what is the game you want to play. So suppose if I'm selecting the ship game, the game ship is started. You are playing the ship game, please wear the water jacket, and the game ship is stopped. So abstract classes and interfaces, how it will be used is, this is the typical cases. When you have an interface with multiple methods, and if all implemented classes are giving the same implementation, we can introduce the abstract class in between. And we what are the abstract methods? We'll keep it abstract method as is. And then we are going to implement this interface and we'll extend this class, the extended class, which is going to give the concrete methods, and all abstract methods we must override. The abstract classes and the interfaces are typical scenarios. This is the scenarios where we would use the combination of the abstract classes and the interfaces. Is this clear? Any questions here? Any questions, guys? Those who are learning the first time, don't worry too much, guys. Like no, the moment you start practicing and reading about these concepts, you will understand. Like no, in 1 hour, like just understanding the whole concepts. Sometimes you may get confusion. Don't worry. You take these concepts, whatever I explain, and you can do the going through the books or maybe various other websites. Yeah, what other resources are available? You just spend some more time, understand this, so that you will get to know that, you know, how we are going to use this. Like you take this concept at least. Like now I explained like what is a class, object, and inheritance, how it works, and constructor chaining, how it happens, super method. You need to read some more details about that. Then only you will understand these concepts if you're learning the first time. Yeah, or watch this recording multiple times. Then try to write your own notes. Then you practice these examples. Let me push this code. I'm going to commit and push this code so that you guys can pull the code and you can get the latest code. Okay, already if you upload my project, what you can do here is right click here, just you go on the git pull, you do that here. What are the changes I made? All the changes you will get it. Thank you guys. And if you don't have any questions, I'm done for the day. If you have any questions, I will take your questions. Okay, it looks like there is no questions. Thank you.
Hello, CareerIT. Are you there?
Hello. Yeah. Hello. This is Conrad from CareerIT. Hello.